Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're literally cracking open a fascinating topic, the exact biological mechanisms behind how eggs act as a microscopic repair crew for the human brain. We're moving way past those simple breakfast headlines and diving into pure cellular science to discover exactly how eggs protect our cells and power our minds.
Right off the bat, let's talk about this massive headline statistic, a 47% Alzheimer's risk reduction. Now, while that number is incredibly exciting, we really have to look past simple observational data to find the truth. You see, observational studies often compare highly health-conscious people to generally dysfunctional populations, which can artificially inflate statistics. To really grasp how eggs reduce that risk by 47%, we need to look at the hard biological mechanisms.
To get how this actually works, we've got to totally shift our perspective. Listen to this quote from our source document. We need to view the egg not just as food, but as highly advanced biological technology. It's a self-contained biological engine packed with over 850 distinct proteins. I mean, that is just wild to think about. I never realized just how structurally complex a single egg really is.
Here is our blueprint for today. We're going to cover the 47% risk reduction, fueling brain acetylcholine production, lutein for insulating neural pathways, ketones as the energetic bypass, and finally, the brain cholesterol paradox.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the 47% risk reduction.
When you look at an egg through the lens of biochemistry, the structural matrix is packed with some truly unique components. We're talking about things like lysozyme, a natural antimicrobial peptide shown to lower blood pressure. We see IgG antibodies that structurally mitigate gut bacteria. And crucially, we see cystatin, an enzymatic inhibitor that researchers are actively evaluating for memory preservation in neurodegenerative models. It's literally like a tiny pharmacy in there, and this is just the baseline for how eggs inherently protect our cells.
Let's move on to Section 2, fueling brain acetylcholine production.
Have you ever wondered what the actual, tangible benefit of a standard breakfast portion really is? Well, here is the two-egg nutritional secret. Just 2 whole eggs deliver approximately 300 milligrams of highly bioavailable choline. That provides an incredibly dense dose of the exact structural precursor your brain desperately needs to optimize its acetylcholine production. Without this specific lipid matrix, you're looking at a very high probability of systemic choline deficiency.
This brilliantly shows the difference in how we tackle brain health. The primary pharmaceutical approach to neurodegeneration globally involves trying to stop the breakdown of acetylcholine by inhibiting specific enzymes. But contrast that with the nutritional approach. By eating eggs, you're maximizing dietary precursors to natively build and synthesize that underlying neurotransmitter pool before degradation even happens. You're building a strong foundation from the ground up, rather than just patching up a leaky roof.
Which brings us to Section 3, lutein and insulating neural pathways.
So the structural integrity of your brain's communication network depends entirely on something called the myelin sheath. Think of the myelin sheath like the plastic coating that insulates a copper wire. Now, the human brain distinctly prefers specific antioxidants, namely lutein and zeaxanthin, to maintain this axonal insulation. It selectively hoards these carotenoids to shield its lipid structures. Basically, we're seeing exactly how lutein protects nerves and acts as a built-in anti-aging mechanism, stopping oxidative cellular damage before it can even start.
Now, the crucial point here is the massive difference in agricultural practices. Seriously, not all eggs are created equal. If you've ever stood in the grocery aisle feeling totally confused, here is the pasture-raised difference. The numbers speak for themselves. Pasture-raised eggs offer a beautiful, anti-inflammatory 6-to-1 omega ratio compared to a highly pro-inflammatory 51-to-1 ratio found in conventional cage settings. Plus, those pasture-raised eggs give you up to 5 times the nerve-protecting lutein concentration. So if you want that ultimate structural protection for your brain, the source absolutely matters.
Digging into the second page of our specification file, we uncover this fascinating biological workaround. We're going to see the exact mechanism of how ketone energy for cells can literally rescue starving brain tissue during an energetic crisis. And that leads us straight into Section 4, ketones, the energetic bypass.
This step-by-step breakdown of the energetic divergence principle is just amazing. In Step 1, early cognitive impairment basically causes the brain's glucose transporters to shut down. The normal doors for glucose close up, leading to cellular starvation. The cells are quite literally running out of gas. But Step 2 shows us the ketone mechanism for brain recovery. Ketone transporters act like a cellular backdoor that is left wide open, totally independent of insulin. They directly deliver life-saving fuel to the mitochondria, which is exactly how ketones rescue brain cells.
And this is where the true nutrient power of eggs perfectly comes into play. Because whole eggs naturally have a high-lipid, low-carbohydrate profile, they easily prevent systemic insulin spikes. But at the same time, they supply the exact essential cofactors, like a full spectrum of B vitamins, iodine, and selenium, that are required to efficiently run this mitochondrial energy engine. They don't just give you the fuel, they hand you the spark plugs too.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the brain cholesterol paradox.
When we dig into the final data sheet, we see a really fascinating, maybe even a little alarming shift. For decades, right, we were told to avoid eggs because of cholesterol. Yet, the data shows that aggressively suppressing endogenous cholesterol, meaning the stuff your body naturally produces, actually correlates with mandatory regulatory warnings for acute memory impairment and measurable cognitive deficits.
This comparison reveals exactly why the brain needs cholesterol so badly. Modern neurobiology confirms the brain is actually the most cholesterol-dense organ in the human body. Clinical cohorts consistently show that when total serum cholesterol levels are driven below 200, individuals exhibit significantly poorer cognitive performance. Why? Because lowering lipid availability too much directly compromises your synaptic plasticity and cellular membrane fluidity. On the flip side, optimal lipid levels maintain that vital cellular function.
And hey, if you're worried about eating too many eggs, check this out. Human physiology is incredibly smart. Your body uses robust homeostatic adaptation. Simply put, if you eat more cholesterol, your intestines absorb less, and your liver clears out the excess to keep a perfect systemic balance. You really don't have to worry about your liver working overtime just from a breakfast plate. Dietary cholesterol inputs simply do not dictate cardiovascular risk in isolation.
So, given how we've seen eggs structurally fuel acetylcholine, insulate our vital neural networks with lutein, and literally rescue starving brain cells using ketone energy pathways, I want to leave you with this final thought. If the brain is operating entirely on highly regulated lipid pools, is it time we fundamentally rethink our definition of what the ultimate brain food actually is? Thanks for exploring the science with me today in this explainer. Keep analyzing the data and stay curious.